What's up? Welcome back. What's up, Carter?
What's up, guys?
We are back for episode 2 of Where It Went. Today we're looking at one of my favorite zines. Um, Personally, this is South Florida Hardcore Retrospective by Chad Gilbert from Newfound Glory. This one is from my personal collection. I'm from South Florida. I picked this up in 2012 at a fest that happened one time only in South Florida called Real and Restless Fest. Um, yeah, I'm psyched to jump into it. Before we do, what's up? How are you, Carter?
Doing good, bro. Excited for this issue and just give a little background to myself. Like you said, you're from South Florida. I live in Florida now, but for those who don't know me personally, I grew up in Alabama, which is an hour from where I live now. So, me and Lennon lived on like basically opposite parts of Florida, but Florida hardcore is something I've been around since I started going to shows. So a lot of this stuff in here me was really cool to check out and see, even though it was like 13 hours away from me, still the same state. So just learning about your state's history and hardcore is pretty dope.
Yeah, Carter, I was thinking about this before we recorded this, that it is kind of crazy. Me and you have been friends for like 12 years now.
Yeah, we met a long time ago.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. But yeah, before we jump into it too, I want to plug new issue of Fortress fanzine. Our friend Mikey from South Florida, he plays in Envision, Be All End All,
Lateral.
Collateral, SOS. He runs Fortress. Mikey's the man. He's a graphic design guy, so his zines always look really fucking good.
Yeah, they
Um,
look.
this is a new full size. I'm not sure how many pages it is, but it just came out. Cool interviews with Wreckage, Morning Magnitude, All for All, Be All End All. Yeah, check it out. I think he has copies still on the Fortress web store, so go grab a copy if you can. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for issue 2. Hopefully, it doesn't take 9 million years, but yeah. Shout out to Mikey. Pick that one up.
Shout out, Mikey.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll just jump right into this. So, um, what do you have a stance, Carter, on half size zines versus full size zines?
So I personally like full size zines. Just I don't know. I just like everything bigger. Pause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it just always looks better. I think there is a time and place for half size ones. Like if you're doing like a 2.5 issue or something like that, or I do get it. But like this, like I don't know why this wouldn't be full size. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Other than costs, like I understand that if you wanted to be as cheap as possible, for sure.
Well, God knows Chad Gilbert's got the money, but
That's what I mean, bro. And yeah, for those who don't know, the legend Chad Ball,
yeah, so I don't know. Kids today might not realize that he's like a hardcore dude, and
and not just like some pop punk guy.
yeah, and guys from Newfound Glory. We'll talk about it when we get into this, but I mean, they played shows with hardcore bands. They were essentially like they were as much a hardcore band in South Florida when they started as like Title Fight
Title
was,
fight, yeah,
or Anxious is now. You know what I mean?
for
Um,
sure.
and like we don't have to get into the debate about whether those bands count as hardcore bands or not, because like who
They
cares?
had they had the spirit. That's what
Yeah,
matters.
yeah. Chad also played in Shai Hulud. He played in they all like a lot of those dudes played in hardcore bands. So but yeah, hand numbered copy, 57 out of 150. So Real and Restless Fest, we'll get to it when we get to the page on this, but it was a fest that happened one time in South Florida. My first band played it, and Chad Ball was selling the zine there. That was like a few years into hardcore for me, and I was really you hit that point where you get into hardcore, and like after like 3 or 4 years of like just kind of being into whatever, you start to become a sponge for like stuff from your specific
Area,
yeah.
yeah.
And so this was like huge for me. And we'll get into we'll see why, but yeah, cool photo. I don't know what's going on with man's haircut here. This is the craziest fucking haircut I've ever seen.
Friday ass cut, bro.
It's so crazy. But yeah. Um
Two things I wanted to say real quick. Chad is from Coral Springs, and I'm not the best at geography in South Florida. How far away was that from where you grew up?
Coral Springs is 15 minutes. It's like it's like 2 or 3 towns north of my town. My town is Pembroke Pines. It's
Yeah,
it's the same county though. It's all Broward County.
dude, that
It
shit's like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Coral
yeah
Spring. Like it's just so different down there than up here. And like
yeah.
I'll
It's
say that for real quick, people don't realize like where I live at the very top of Florida in Pensacola. South Florida is another planet compared to where I come from.
yeah. It's like 10 hours away, isn't
It
it?
could not be any different culturally than it is up here. Like, and I really mean that. It's literally like going to another country.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's crazy. And last thing I'll add about South Florida is where I come from, like North Florida, like there's not really a history of hardcore bands, from the 90s and shit. Like, it's kind of cool, but we kind of paved our own way up here. The first band that comes to mind is Cold Hearted. And what they did really is like years from now, kids will look back to get into hardcore and they'll be like, wow, like this band is from here. That's crazy. And they didn't start 2009. Like, and I'm not saying there wasn't bands, but there really wasn't at any level like Cold Hearted was. But like you look at South Florida and you guys had all kind of shit, bro. You know what I mean? We'll get into it. Yeah, like Shia Lude, Poison the Well,
Yeah.
like
We
all kind of strong arm, all kind of shit.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really interesting. I feel like a lot of people now, kids will like think about South Florida hardcore and they'll think about like the like kind of like 2010s, especially like the late 2010s where you had, IOU records bands and like 86 records bands, Plead Your Case, like whatever, like that era.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like an era that I was involved in, obviously, but I don't know if kids realize like what a history South Florida had before that. This zine was like integral for me finding out about that stuff and getting into it. But yeah, it is interesting. Everything in here. So there's very little interview content in here. It's
Yeah,
mostly
we
flyers.
should really emphasize that.
Yeah, it's just like flyers and photos. And I guess it's all, to my understanding, it's all stuff from Chad Ball's personal collection, like
Which
photos
is
he
awesome.
took and flyers that he held onto and scanned. And at this fest, when they were selling the zine, there was like this huge, it was like an art installation basically set up where they had all these prints of photos and old South Florida flyers set up like in the
That's
back
really
part
sick.
of the venue, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, Roundhouse Records was a South Florida label. They did the Brethren and Out of Spite releases. Um,
Yep.
yeah, pretty cool.
The only note I wrote down for that, I don't really know much about Roundhouse other than the bands on it, but I love the name. Like that's a dope ass name.
Yeah, no, it's sick. Yeah, Alex Roundhouse, the dude who ran it. Um, I don't know if they put out much else. I mean, a quick Discogs check would bring that back. But Brethren and Out of Spite are bands that we'll see a lot in this zine. They're pretty cool. They're like the harder kind of the kind of generally at the time. It's like the Broward County bands, which is like the county that I'm from. It's a county above Miami. It's where like Fort Lauderdale, Coral Springs, Pembroke Pines, Davie, Cooper City, Sunrise, Pompano, all those places. The bands from there were like the kind of more like what you think of as like the straight edge, like kind of politically 90s, just general world,
Yeah.
And then like Miami, you have like these kind of bands that are like the kind of like harder,
Hardcore.
kind of yeah.
Baggy ass clothes.
Yeah. Like they were all rocking baggy clothes, but it was a different type of baggy clothes
A
vibe.
different, yeah. They had like yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I will say too, I'm 100% gonna steal that saying, catch the hardcore wrath. I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's dope. Um, yeah. So this was cool. Makeshift. They were like kind of like an emo-y band that was like people from Glass Eater, which was like a Miami band. And
Yeah,
it's like cool if you're into like
it's alright. I checked it out.
it's just like, it's that fucking 90s kind of like emo-y kind of
Vibe.
vibe.
Yeah.
This shit here is awesome though, the Out of Spite tape. Um,
This tape is actually awesome. Like it's on YouTube. I feel like your modern hardcore kid is really vibing with that, like, like sketchy type sounding shit. You know what I mean? Like people
I
would
mean,
love this band if they checked them out.
you can look at the art and you can just tell exactly what it's going to sound
Yeah,
like.
exactly. Like they were on Back to Basics at one point, which this art,
Yeah.
really signifies the coming of that. But that release particularly is my favorite one from them. It's really good.
Yeah. This dude Harold plays guitar or played guitar in Chicago NT, which is like one of the best South Florida bands ever. Um,
Legendary band.
that's like later era than this though. That's like 2000s. But yeah, one thing about this that I thought was really funny is like before I ever met Dylan or any of the Shackled kids, I saw
Had
that
that rip.
they did a rip of this, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck, man? Who the fuck like are these kids from New Jersey? How do they know what this is? Like that's so weird."
Like, to be honest, they had no business knowing what that. I don't mean that like no one knows this band. The fact that they knew it well enough to rip it is insane.
Yeah, it's such a South Florida thing. Um, Brethren, this is like, the Miami band. We got man diving in a 25 to life shirt. That's cool. Um, Brethren, I played the Brethren reunion. It was Morning Again and Brethren both played reunion, and that was like a big moment for South Florida at the time. It was a very like a lot of old heads rolled out, and
What
um,
year was that?
probably 2015 or 2016.
Okay.
Blistered and Day by Day played also, and a lot of young kids came out, and
Yeah.
then a lot of older heads came out uh, to see Brethren in Morning Again. It's pretty dope. Dope.
One thing I would say about Brethren is you explained something in a way that I just really wanted to say. Like, Brethren was kind of like one of those bands that like they weren't big like globally, but like they were super important for your scene, which is just as important as being a huge band, in my personal opinion. Like,
Yeah,
not everything has to be this like your band's known worldwide or like some weird shit like that. Like, they had a time and place, and it was like being a local band. There's nothing wrong with that, and
yeah, it's dope.
I think that's like a really important for to have a band like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what a lot of these bands end up being, but uh, yeah, cool photos here. Classical looking Madball photo.
Freddie Madball,
Um,
yeah.
uh, Indecision photo. Yo, this is the most 90s hardcore facial hair possible. Just the chin only.
Yes, bro.
And it's like
Go
I,
ahead.
I feel like just the chin is a thing that unites like the kind of like big t-shirt and beads around the neck like skinny straight edge kids with also like the hard like thugcore 90s kids. Like
Yeah,
they're all rocking just the chin, bro.
yeah. And what you'll notice on a lot of these flyers, Brethren and Shia Hulud were playing a lot of the shows.
Yeah, so those are like probably two of the bigger South Florida bands at the time. I admittedly I don't love Shai Hulud.
I
Um,
don't either, and I think they've kind of tarnished what they did have. I
well,
think
yeah,
that's
I mean
very fair to say.
they've gone through like a
Billion
floppity
fucking
jillion members.
yes.
If they would have just like broken up and then like after that record on Rev, and then just like they could have played reunions like 10 20 years later and people would have cared. Um, but yeah, they've just run their legacy just like into the ground, you know.
To the ground.
Um,
Dope name though. For anyone who knows the book Dune, like that's a sick ass name, honestly.
yeah, for sure. They're a band that like I want to like it because it's like from
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
because like I mean they're not from Pembroke Pines, but they're from Broward County. It's all within like 20 minutes of each other. It's like it's
Still
all
the hometown
they're,
and
they're a
whatnot.
hometown band, so like I don't know, but you'll see a lot of these shows are at Cheers. Cheers is like kind of like the classical South Florida venue, it seems like. But yeah, Madball Brethren Shai Hulud, and then Indecision Shutdown Brethren Shai Hulud.
Pretty beat ass shows, dude.
Yeah, pretty sick.
Is Cheers still a thing? Do you know when that was?
Yeah, Cheers is definitely not still a thing.
Do you know what year or what kind of era it kind of shut down?
I don't. I know it was like all through the 2000s at least, like early
Okay.
2000s. But yeah.
I really wish the one thing about some of these flyers, I really wish there was dates on them.
Yeah, like years specifically. Yeah,
Yeah,
sucks. It goes back to what we said in the first issue, talking about even the score having the date, like at least the month and year. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's really important to do
years on
that.
them, but it is.
Yeah,
I mean, I could find out. I could reach out to a couple people. Shout out to I could reach out to John McHale, Break Even Booking, and he would definitely be able to tell me what years some of these shows took place. I'll get him to pop in the comments and talk about some years of some of these.
Oh yeah.
Um, this Snapcase photo really makes me laugh. I can't really explain why. He's just stanced up like
Like
a
looking at the fucking like ceiling or
yeah,
something.
yeah. It makes me laugh. I don't know why. This fucking photo always makes me laugh. Uh, fucking
The
donut.
donut shirt is awesome, bro. You got the outspoken shirt, you got the chain shirt.
Yeah,
Look,
old school.
metalhead looking motherfuckers
Yeah,
wearing straight edge hardcore shirts.
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, donuts is all chicks, bro. It's all women in the band.
It's insanely beast.
So there, somebody recently was like saying that, and they meant it in a complimentary way, was saying that donuts and AOA sound the same.
I've heard that, yeah,
That's a
a couple
crazy
times.
comparison, but
Yeah.
um,
I actually didn't know it was all chicks. I knew there was chicks in the bands, but I didn't know it was straight up all women. That's kind of
yeah,
crazy,
every member,
especially in the '90s.
yeah. Shout out donuts, crazy band name, stupid ass band name.
Insane band
But this is a cool. So these are all photos from this show.
show. Yeah,
Yeah, Snapcase, Donuts, Tension. Um, First band. Okay, this is such a South Florida fucking thing. First band starting at 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
That's I cannot impart to you how much that has lived on in South. The shows just start so fucking late.
That's too late, bro.
Yeah, it's
Even as a kid, bro, that's fucking late.
yeah. Um, this is also a really funny thing. I know this is just very like par for the course of the time, but just like info, putting the number, the promoter's phone number on here. Like I can't imagine especially like this time, like Snapcase was like a big band in the 90s. They're like one of the
Yeah,
bigger hardcore bands in the 90s. I can't fucking imagine having like 300 just like idiotic Snapcase fans blowing up my presumably, well, yeah, my house phone
yeah, definitely a
uh,
house.
to ask me questions about the fucking show. I
Yeah,
would um cool tension photo. So tension is like my favorite South Florida band or one of my favorite South Florida bands ever.
I was
Um
gonna bring that up. I feel like a lot of people will say like, "What's your favorite Florida band?" A lot of people from Florida will say Tension.
yeah, tension is fucking sick. You ever listen to them?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh the
the
LP
7 inch and the LP. Yeah,
yeah, the LP is dope. Agent of the People.
yeah.
I got a copy of it. The 7 inch is also dope. The 7 inch I would say Sickness of Our Age is they have another 7 inch as well, but Sickness of Our Age is like the one. They actually have a song that has it is like note for note. The intro of it is Murdario Stomp, but it came out before Murdario Stomp did. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
One thing I was gonna say about them, and you might not agree with this, I feel like Tension reminds me of Trial in a lot of ways.
yeah, I mean it's a pretty kind of just like they sound like they could be on New Age at the time.
Yeah.
It's like it's like kind of just like a more 90s like an evolved version of Judge kind of.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're dope. They're really sick. One of my favorite South Florida bands. Rest in peace. He passed away. And it sucks because I know there was people who were trying to make a Tension reunion happen like around the time that happened. So rest in
Yeah.
peace. Um, so Strong Arm is an interesting one. This is a crazy ass fucking photo right here, bro. This is just like
This looks sick as fuck.
yeah. Um, Strong Arm is a band that I would have no interest in whatsoever if they weren't from my town for sure. Um, they're a Christian band, which definitely turns off a lot of people.
Yeah.
I am by no means a Christian myself, but musically, this is just like the first Strong Arm LP. Just like is just like pretty standard, like vaguely spiritual sounding, big shorts, 90s hardcore. But the second Strong Arm LP is like it's like if Shai Hulud was like good. It's just like fucking weird and crazy and like insane sounding. I love it. I get why people wouldn't like it though, but cool
I
Strong
actually
Arm.
had a few notes about Strong Arm. The first one being that for people who haven't listened to this band, I think you would fully admit this. Like, Envision is taking a lot from this band,
Oh yeah, for
like
sure.
big time. So
Yeah.
if you like Envision, this is a band you would definitely at least parts like fuck with. And one thing I'll say is they have a music video for their song Trials
Yeah.
that is really sick. It's like as 90 as a hardcore music video gets and is worth checking out. And the last thing I was just gonna ask you which records you liked more. I personally like Atonement more, and I will say too, I'm not like the biggest Strong Arm fan, but I feel like I'm listening to Atonement over Advent of a Miracle probably most of the time. Not that it's bad, that's just the one I find myself going back to more.
Yeah. Atonement is the first one. It's easier. It's definitely more straightforward and more easy to get into. I like Advent of a Miracle more just because that's like when this band like it's like their final form. They like turn into this like great. It's hard to really say what it sounds like, and like there's no. It's a truly unique sounding record. There's no other hardcore band out there that has ever sounded like that record.
Yeah, I mean I agree, which I don't know. I think that's what separates Envision apart from like any other band right now. There's no one trying to like get influence from that style of hardcore.
Yeah, the first Envision LP we were drawing from Strong Arm a
Oh,
lot, a
yeah,
lot.
a lot. Like it's pretty crazy in a really good way.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit's dope. This is a funny interview with
Dude,
VOD.
this interview is fucking stupid at points, man.
Yeah, this is the only interview in here at all.
Yeah.
It's funny that he included this. He was probably like fucking 14 just like interviewing them. Um, but yeah.
Two parts of the interview. I will say it's cool he explained what the name means. I
Yeah,
think it's always cool when you get that in an interview, especially like in a kind of weird name like Vision of Disorder. There's one part that really pissed me off where the singer talks about how metal is better than hardcore.
yeah.
It's like, dude, I mean, I get it. I know how Vision Disorder sounds. I like Vision of Disorder, but at the same time, like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, they got pierced nipples, bro. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
One thing I thought was interesting was them talking about how when they first started, they didn't have a bass player and they had two guitar players. I did not know that.
That's just insane.
Yeah,
Especially a band like that was like fucking big in the
yeah,
90s.
very strange.
Very
Um, but yeah, look at this fucking guy. Look at his. This is
I
just
mean, yeah, he looks new metal as fuck.
yeah. But yeah, VOD, Shai Hulud, Bertaville Omen. You ever? This is another one of Cheers. Earth Crisis playing too. That's a pretty sick lineup. I mean,
Definitely so.
you ever listen to Bertaville Omen?
No, I genuinely don't know what that is.
That's another South Florida band. They're pretty dope. They're like mid '90s, like super metally kind of sounding.
Okay.
But they're dope. Sick picture of Earth Crisis. Carl rocking the 25 to Life shirt. Scott rocking the Culture T-shirt. Respect. Um, being in South Florida, rocking the Culture shirt. That's dope. Some more flyers. This is I mean like so Bloodlet's a Florida band, but they're not South Florida. I think they're from Orlando. But I mean Bloodlet, Shai Hulud, Bertaville Omen, Brethren. This would be like the equivalent to like Tampa band coming down to play South Florida and just like doing a show for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is definitely a weird one. Bloodlet, Shai Hulud, Bertaville Omen, all like kind of weird bands. Um, AF playing. I mean, it's interesting because all these shows are like $5, $6, $7, except for like AF playing is 12. I mean, that just goes to show you they were like a huge band at the time.
You got
Um,
the first Newfound Glory flyer, I think, in the whole thing.
yeah, so this is when they were so called a Newfound Glory. That's like kind of like when you can differentiate when they like went from like being a hardcore band, like a pop punk band that was like in hardcore to like kind of moving on
So
to
like
like
a bigger. I don't want to say pro core because that's like maybe negative thing, but you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
they were at a different level.
yeah, for sure. Um, this is a crazy weird flyer. Stop blaming kids in TV with these like weird fucking figures. But this is at 403 Chaos, which is a Tampa venue. Which explains why Reversal of Man is playing. Reversal of Man's a Tampa band. Do you know the song Get the have you ever listened to Reversal of Man?
I've listened to them, but I couldn't like tell you anything about it. It's something I checked out probably one time, but I do remember checking it out once.
Yeah, they're like a screamo. ish band. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's they're a pretty cool you know, like just like 90s Tampa band. They have a song called Get the Kid with the Sideburns, which is a reference to a story that they played a show. It was them, Earth Crisis, and VOD. And their whole thing was that they were like huge trolls. They just like would like heckle bands, like even bands that they liked. They would just like do weird shit during their sets and like heckle them. So
That's
the whole
awesome.
time VOD was playing, they were heckling them, calling them DOV, Vision of Dyslexia. And then at some point, all the Earth Crisis and VOD dudes like started fighting them in the crowd. And at one point, somebody got on the mic and said, "Get the kid with the sideburns." So they wrote a song about that incident, and the song is called "Get the Kid with the
Yeah,
Sideburns."
that's awesome, Laura.
It's pretty funny. Um, I don't know what the deal with this is, but every city in America has a bar called Foo Bar that shows happen at, and I just really don't understand why that is. It's very strange. Um, but yeah, more photos, another cheer show, Dead Guy, Bloodlet, 454 Big Block. It's weird, like 454 Big Block is like a lot more straightforward sounding band than a lot of these bands that are on these flyers, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Elgin James from Righteous James, 454 Big Block,
Legend.
Bloodlet being weird, Dead Guy, weird. Um, yeah, so there's Bird of Alone. This is a fucking crazy ass photo.
Crazy picture.
This fucking guy here. Um, yeah, this dude's fucking tribal hand tats going on here. I don't know if you can see him. Um, but yeah, Bird of Ill Omen's cool. I feel like you would fuck with them. They're pretty dope. Pretty dope South Florida band. Um, Murphy's Law, H2O, Shai Hulud. It's weird that like Shai Hulud was like one of the big South Florida bands at the time, and they're playing even with like the old school kind of bands, you know?
Yeah. Very
Um,
yeah, definitely the old mixed bill there.
yeah, for sure. Another one, Bloodlet, Shai Hulud, Bird of Ill Omen. Uh, it's so funny that it's like these three bands, and then it's just like also Brethren. Like,
Like why word it like
why
that?
separate them? Yeah. Flyers at this time were fucking weird, bro.
They're all over the place, bro.
Um, this one, dude. I don't know what's up. This is like an image that appears on so much fucking 90s hardcore stuff. Um, this photo of like this fucking like weird like
Gate graveyard
yeah.
type gimmick.
It's like I think this is the same exact. It's either the same exact photo or a photo of this is the cover of the Decontaminate demo. You ever listen to that band?
Yeah.
It's like the dude from Dan Gump's band after Excessive Force.
That's force, yeah.
Um, but yeah, Bird of Omen, Set Apart, Night of Broken Glass, just like Shai Hulud, South Florida shit. Um, this is a weird flyer. Uh, so it's so interesting to me that they didn't use any of the band's actual logos, but they also just changed the font for every
For
single
every
piece of
single one.
text. It's so bizarre. It's such a weird like 90s like dawn of Photoshop ass fucking thing to do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because like this is clearly not a cut and paste flyer.
No, like that was made in something on a computer.
Yeah, super bizarre. But yeah,
Love
Morning Again, Keepsake, Shai Hulud, Another
another
Victim,
victim.
pretty cool. So Club Q,
I was about to say, isn't that weird to you that another victim played underneath Shia Hulud?
yeah, I mean maybe just because it was South Florida. I don't know. That does seem weird, and that could also just be us showing our age, where we like kids our age are definitely way more interested in Another Victim than Shai Hulud. But like at this time, Shai Hulud was on Rev. They were like big, you know.
Yeah, but just me like the out of town band playing like earlier than the local. I don't know. It's just kind
It's
of
it's
it's
definitely
not how it would be now, you
yeah.
know.
Um, Boba Fett flyer, cool as
That
fuck.
flyer is awesome. Like that, I wish I knew what that image was from.
X'd up Boba Fett.
It's fire.
Yeah, it's probably just from some like Dark Horse. Uh,
And they just drew an X over it, literally.
yeah, I mean this is a cut and paste flyer. They definitely just
Yeah,
took a Sharpie and drew an X on there. But this is
yeah.
definitely from like a Dark Horse issue, excuse
Of
me, of like the
Star Wars,
90s
yeah.
Star Wars comic, yeah. Stretch Armstrong, Shai Hulud, Morning Again. I wonder if these flyers are in some sort of chronological order because like starting off early, it's like a lot of like Brethren, Shai Hulud, and then as you kind of get more further on, you start to see a lot of Morning Again popping up.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
wonder I wonder if that is some sort of chronological thing. But Club Q is a venue that is quite literally 5 minutes from my parents' house. And so many legendary shows. That's like a South Florida thing. Like it's before my time. It's now a pool hall called Big Dogs 2. Um, but I used to drive by it all like going anywhere from my parents' house, the house that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many fucking stories of legendary shows at Club Q, and it's so weird because it's just like some hole in the wall pool hall in a strip club or in a strip mall. So super weird. Some Shai Hulud photos. Uh, this is young Chad Ball singing in Shai Hulud.
That's dope.
Yeah. Portly young fella there. Uh, strange cheers sign in the back. Um, so this page for me was like,
Finding all kind of old shit you didn't know
yeah,
about.
this was how I heard about all these bands. Like I
That's
bought this zine,
that's
I took
awesome.
this home, and it was like this might as well have been an instruction manual for like me and my friends at the time to delve
South Florida
into.
Bible.
Yeah, and some of this stuff we already knew, but a lot of it we like got into. um yeah, this is just dope South Florida shit. I mean, first Newfound Glory 7 inch, Tension LP, Culture LP, Strong Arm LP, Beyond Reason. They're a South Florida band. They just played a reunion actually, with Gorilla Biscuits playing in Miami. Um, Shai Hulud Indecision Split. I
Dude,
mean,
how crazy is a Morning Again 25 to life split?
yeah, it's awesome, dude.
That is like truly one scene unity
Yeah,
vibes.
it's sick as fuck. Um, what else do we got here? Further Seems Forever, emo band that was basically all of Strong Arm, but with the singer of Dashboard Confessional singing. Um,
Okay.
pretty good. Vacant Andes was the dude from Dashboard Confessional's band before he joined Further Seems Forever. Um, but yeah, this was like for me, it was like getting into a lot of these bands, and like you really see like the legacy of South Florida bands is really a lot of these kind of like weirder, more metallic bands. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
like Where Fear and Weapons Meet is like more straightforward, but they kind of suck ass. Um,
What do you know about Trust No One?
Trust No One's awesome, bro. They're like Eulogy Records. Like they're a little bit later than some of these other bands, like late '90s into early 2000s. Um, they're like a moshcore band. They actually played a reunion at FYA. Um,
What
it was
year?
it was one of the FYAs at the Orpheum.
I generally don't remember that, which is crazy.
Yeah, they played FYA. It was when there was still like an attempt at that time to like try to get some sort of like old Florida band to play every year. Um, but yeah, all of these. So this Bingo Nut, I don't know what the fuck that is. And then this one here, I don't know what this is, because
Just
there's no title on
scratch
it,
art. Yeah.
and I've never figured out what it is. Um, but yeah, most of this stuff is like it's shit that's dope, and it's like maybe stuff that like if I wasn't from South Florida, I might not care about it, but I do kind of like all of it. These two are probably two of the most straightforward bands. Powerhouse was on New Age Records. They're just like a youth crewy kind of band. Um, they're not great though, and there was like this weird period of time where like people who were like into demo core were like kind of like jocking Powerhouse a little bit, which I thought
Yeah.
was strange. There's also a California Powerhouse that's like a
Yeah.
more like harder band that people like. And then Timescape Zero, I actually think you would like a lot, Carter. They got some tracks that are like Cro-Mags vibes. Um, but yeah, this for me early on was like a big deal for me getting into this shit. But dope culture pick. We got the fucking visor with the hair sticking out of the top. That's mad 90s. You like Culture, right?
Yeah, I mean, Culture is fucking awesome. Deforestation is those songs, whether you're vegan or straight edge or not, those songs are insanely hard.
Yeah, they're dope. Um, this is a cool one. Definitely a little bit later. But Adamantium, Poison the Well.
I think this is like the first Poison the Well thing we've seen.
Yeah, it is. So this show actually, this is so Morning Again, Brethren, until the end when there were still references
the end.
till the end. A Newfound Glory, and then An Acre Lost is Poison the Well.
Okay.
They were called they changed their name to Poison the Well, but this is when they still had two singers. Um, but yeah, this is a pretty crazy lineup. Like in hindsight, Morning Again, Brethren, until the end, Newfound Glory, and Poison the Well. Pretty crazy.
It's an insane lineup.
Yeah. Um, this is a strange one. This is definitely like weird fringe, not hardcore bands playing with Shai Hulud. I don't know what Denny's unit is. Um,
Insane name.
yeah. But this one I thought was cool. What Wishes Can't Mend is like a pretty sick. They're from West Palm Beach, and like a lot of these bands are like Broward and Miami bands, but they're a West Palm Beach band. They're a little bit more metalcore. I mean, this flyer in general, these bands are like Adamantium is like Orange County, like Throwdown, Bleeding Through, 18 Visions, like that whole thing. But this is definitely a more metalcore flyer show, whatever. This one, Brethren, Morning and Out of Spite, and then I guess a band called Burning Strong, which I don't know if you made a note of that.
No, I actually didn't even think of that, but that is really funny.
Yeah, obviously Burning Strong, current Pensacola hardcore band. I don't know anything about this Burning Strong like at all.
Never ever heard that. For all I know, they played one fucking show and have no recordings.
Yeah, they probably honestly did. This show was at Churchill's though, which is
Still around, right?
Churchill's. Well, it's not still around now, but it was up until
Like a
like
few years ago, right?
yeah. I've been to a bajillion shows at Churchill's.
Yeah.
I bought this zine at a show at Churchill's. Churchill's is a fucking shithole. But
Yeah, I haven't heard many good stories about it.
yeah, and then this show happening at Music Arts Enterprises is really funny. That's literally a guitar store.
That's funny. We should probably just really quick just mention Eulogy and like I guess how important that was for South Florida at the time. Started by the Morning Again guitar player, correct?
Yeah, John Wiley. Yeah, he put out a lot of shit at the time that like that was like a very like 2000 like late 90s early to mid 2000s vibe was like like Eulogy was just like moshcore shit and like
Yes,
it
very
had
much.
sick bands
Yeah,
yeah, it was a landmark South Florida thing, I feel like.
there's definitely a eulogy sound to it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean
Yeah,
like
so
yeah, big time. A lot of fucking chuggy breakdowns for sure.
yes,
Um Where Fear and Weapons Meet. Man's rocking the
football gimmick.
yeah, Out of Spite photo. We got a plaid cabbie hat. Just vibes.
Eat his shirt hard as fuck.
Yeah. Um Sleeping by the Riverside, Chalice, Set Apart. These are Tampa bands. Um Sleeping by the Riverside is like I mean, probably one of the older like 90s kind of Tampa bands that like I guess some people like. I know a lot of Tampa kids like them.
Are these like? Is that like a more like screamo type like band?
No, it's like a do you remember that band With Increase from Tampa?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, you went on tour with them. With Increase
Yeah.
like was just like a Sleeping by the Riverside worship band.
Okay, okay.
So it's
Very
like
crazy name to just
yeah,
in that.
they're a Christian band. They got some funny ass lyrics.
I
Um
cannot imagine.
uh Yeah, this one, rock and roll show, interesting. But Shiloh, TNO, Brethren, Milkshed, the Agency,
Shit.
Bistro. I love the little comic strip. The show will start at 7:30 sharp, so don't be late. I will be there to mosh. Um, yeah, Shiloh, Brethren show. No Regrets for Our Youth. I don't know what that is. That's a crazy band name.
Same name.
This is really funny. So this is like I guess like some local like music publication did like an annual awards thing, and this is probably, I mean, chat. I mean, you can see the corners like kind of folded up. This is
Yeah,
probably, and he had all these like the hardcore bands
all
served.
circled, which is
This is
awesome.
probably Chad Ball's like personal fucking
Think, yeah, 100% it is. I bet.
yeah, which is really funny, um, and cool. But yeah, he was representing, bro. He was voting for Band of the Year, Strong Arm, New
Strong
Wave,
arm,
Vertigo Home, and Shai Hulud.
morning again, brethren.
Yeah, all of the fucking hardcore bands. So it's pretty funny. Um, yeah, uh, it's funny that there was like Nonpoint is like a big like new metal band, and Against All Authority was like a big like I think like kind of like ska punky band.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Uh, this is really funny. This dude's got a shirt that just says "The bitch set me up" on it.
like just that part of that stuck out to me immediately. It's like that is an insane shirt
Yeah,
on that.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's funny.
You
Uh,
got like this fucking crackhead looking dude at the bottom. Dagestani looking fella down
yeah,
there.
yeah. He looks like he's about to 50-45 a motherfucker with 25 in goal line, bro. Um,
These motherfuckers up top look insanely
yeah,
good.
bro. Morning again. This is a big BMI hardcore right here. Um, Shout out to Kevin. He's the second singer of Morning Again. After Damien, who sang for Culture, he sang on the early Morning Again material, and then Kevin joined. Kevin's cool. He's like still like around. He like tattoos now, either in Ohio or Indiana. I'm not sure which one. Um,
He sang at FYA, correct?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Honestly, I prefer the Morning Again material with him singing. It's like a little bit harder and like
Yeah.
it's like more moshy and like straightforward. And like I like Damien singing for Culture and him singing for Morning Again, and it being like you get like, that's like two separate cool bands instead of like Culture or Morning Again with Damien singing just like feels like a slightly
It's like
heavier version of Culture,
it's like Culture Part Two,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a legendary ass photo right here.
That photo literally is insanely cool.
The big fellow with the sideburns, the
Big as
crazy.
fuck. He's got like frosted tips and
Yeah,
like comically like big X.
yeah, it's awesome, bro.
He just looks so sick as fuck.
The stupidest looking bass ever. Yeah, it's dope. But yeah, shout out to Kevin. He's like still like I don't know how much he keeps up like with stuff, but he's like still pretty. I interviewed him for a zine some years back, and he was like still pretty in touch and pretty cool, super cool, nice dude. Was like really psyched for me to interview him and helpful with like answering questions and like giving me like whatever lore and stuff. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, this is funny that they did like this pro, like the headshot photo with like the fucking
Rev logo and all
yeah,
that shit.
pretty funny. Crazy photo of them. But yeah, Morning Again, dope South Florida band. Um, this one, I looked this up because this address I didn't recognize as any of the other venues.
Yeah.
It's right by Tate's Comics, which is the greatest comic book shop in America.
I've been there. I went there actually like just a few months ago.
Yeah, dope ass spot. But
Speaking about that, that seems like the place for a hardcore show. It's like just like this like not like shopping mall, but you know like those like just strips of buildings where there's just businesses,
yeah,
but it's like not really nice, but it's not really shitty. Like I could easily see a hardcore show happening in a parking lot like that.
yeah, for sure. There was a record store next to Tate's. So Tate's now has a comic book shop, and then
Yeah.
there's a tattoo shop next to it, and then on the other side is a store that Tate's owns. That's where they sell all their tabletop gaming stuff, and like people play
Yep.
Warhammer.
Yep.
That used to be a record store called Uncle Sam's. That there was some flyer we passed by where they talk about actually several of them early on that you could go to Uncle Sam's to buy pre-sale tickets for shows. But there was a loft upstairs where they used to do shows, and it was just like a wooden loft, and they would do shows up there. And then there was a Crime and Stereo show that was booked there. And too many people showed up, and people were moshing, and the loft started to like bow in the middle,
That's
and like it was like gonna collapse. And apparently, people were being like rushed out like it was a fucking sinking, like the Titanic. But yeah, so there literally were hardcore shows there at some point, which is funny.
very crazy.
Some photos of first Warp Tour ever. into
Dude,
the thick of it all. Orange
look at
Nine.
the lineup in this. It's so crazy to think about.
Yeah, Warped Tour used to have hardcore bands on it early
Yeah.
on. But yeah, pretty funny. Um, these are some really fucking good ones.
Insane. Dude, the hate breed one, holy shit.
Yeah, bro. Hatebreed, Despair, Out of Spite, and Spawn, bro.
That
So
is an insane dude. Think about Spawn coming all the way from Europe and opening that show is insane.
yeah, it is funny. They call Out of Spite Miami Homeboy Core, which is funny.
That's like perfect. Honestly, that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. Connecticut Evil Core.
Contention, Earth Crisis, and Strife on the top left.
Yeah, that's the Tension record release show. Pretty dope. Yeah, fucking sick ass show. Tension,
$5 for that show.
yeah, that's dope. That's dope as fuck. 108 playing with the Offspring is pretty funny.
Insane.
Yeah. So these were all at this place, the +5, which is this place here. It's the place right by Tate's. So makes sense. Stretch Armstrong, Shai Hulud, Brethren, Morning Again, and some band called Yeti. Don't know what's going on with that. That's pretty funny. But Culture, with some other bands that I'm not sure what these bands are, but Newfound Glory also. Pretty sick. But yeah, this random photo with a quote from The Outsiders, pretty strange. Couple more cool flyers here. Vic and Andy, so that's Chris Caraba from Dashboard Confessional, and fucking Further Seems Forever. Newfound Glory, early Newfound Glory photo, pretty sick. This one's funny, like Saves the Day, Bane, Vic and Andy's, and Newfound Glory. It's like so many like fucking like Newfound Glory obviously went on to be a huge fucking band. Vic and Andy's, guy from Dashboard Confessional, Dashboard went on to be a huge band. Bane, huge fucking band. Saves the Day went on to be a huge fucking band. Playing it
I love Bane just having X members of Converge as a selling point on there.
Yeah. And Saves the Day having X members of Lifetime.
Yep.
Which is pretty funny. I didn't really know that. I didn't know that there was people from Lifetime. That I don't know if that's accurate. Someone is gonna have to let us know in the comments.
If it is, it might not be the case anymore for sure.
Well, no, it's certainly not the case anymore.
Yeah.
They're from the same place and sound the same, but like
I could see it probably, but yeah. I don't have any concrete facts on that either.
Yeah. But yeah, so this one is in Vero Beach, which like I personally wouldn't consider Vero Beach, South Florida. That's like Central Florida. That's like up by Orlando. But I mean, you know, Strong Arm, Shai Hulud, Bird of Omen played. He probably just had the flyer in his collection. I know that there were a lot of shows in the 90s at this place, the Vero Beach Women's Club. But yeah, Morning Again, Today's the Day, Converge, Cavity. This is a Sideburns ass fucking show right here. This is some fucking like just like dudes who like Neurosis with big sideburns type metal.
Dude, also it's funny, it's a CD release party. I guess that just like I'm sure there was vinyl for that if Rep did it. I guess that just kind of shows how big CDs were in the 90s. I don't know.
Yeah. Converge playing at Churchill's blows my fucking mind. That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
This flyer, Strong Arm, Brethren, X Reaching Out, X, Pop, I don't know.
Fucked up looking flyer. Like
so clearly somebody drew on the back and with Sharpie and it just bled through.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I for years have been trying to get this.
The little dude holding a shotgun with a chainsaw.
Yeah, this is Ash from Army of Darkness.
Looks cool as fuck.
And like, dude, I want to put this on a flyer or a shirt or something so fucking bad. Dude, if I took this, if I could find whatever this is and bootleg some Army of Darkness shirts, they would sell like fucking hotcakes, man.
It is really cool design.
But yeah, it's a sick little fucking cartoon, and it sucks because it's just like really difficult to get off of here. I've tried for years.
Yeah.
Saying who wants some. Some cool photos. Shelter, Texas is the Reason, Civ. This AFI photo I think is really funny and cool because when people think of AFI, they think of them being like, like gothed out dude.
Yeah, like makeup and shit everywhere.
Yeah, and this is Davey Havoc with like bleach blonde hair and like baggy shirt.
90s ass like Earth Crisis headband.
Yeah, he's just like basketball shorts. And like this is like clear. I mean, and I know old AFI is like they're just like straight edge like 90s hardcore
Just like
dude.
hardcore kids, yeah.
Yeah. This is like just so obviously like him being obsessed with Earth Crisis and like biting Carl's whole look.
Yes.
Which is so
100%.
fucking funny. I've never seen that photo before. I'm sure some AFI super fans out there could tell us if it's online or not, but that's like a band that like people who love like AFI like love AFI, you know?
Yeah.
Cast Iron Hike, Sensefield, Damnation, another Lifetime photo, Ignite, pretty cool. I mean, all these shows mostly being at Cheers. It's really like you see Club Q and you see some other venues in here, but Cheers really seems like it's like the one, you know?
Yeah.
So this is the fest where I got this zine from. It was fest in 2012. It only happened one time ever. It was at Churchill's. It was supposed to be the screening of this documentary. I don't remember if they ever did screen the documentary, but this was like booked around that, which is like strange. But for the time, I know the dude who booked it lost a fuck ton of money on it. Like,
I could easily, just looking at this flyer, like there's a lot of money that was spent on some of these bands, probably,
yeah,
especially like on the left side.
yeah. But yeah, Trial, Culture, Chorus, Damnation,
Foundation.
Foundation, Deathbed, and then like locals, and then
Yeah.
By the Grace of God, the special guest was Farside. It was like Popeye, the singer of Farside.
Damn, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. So this was Shai Hulud's first show with first reunion with Chad Ball singing.
Okay.
So it was like a huge deal for
Still
like
kind of definitely meant something still at that point.
yeah. Like older South Florida people. There was a crazy brawl in the parking lot of this show, and a guy that I was friends with at the time was just standing by, just like completely just watching the fight, like onlooking, having nothing to do with it. And he got punched in the face the hardest I've ever seen a human get punched. He got knocked completely cold, like he was laid out cold in the parking lot, and had the biggest fat lip I've ever seen. He was like literally
All around.
just standing there, and this guy and the fight broke out, and like this dude was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just start sticking people," and he just
People, yeah.
punched him. But yeah, Shai Hulud said it was a big deal. Mean Season, Birdville Omen, Powerhouse, and then more locals.
Dude, and at the bottom, just nothing that ever, dude. I love Trial. Why the fuck? No, like, how many people were in the room for that? Did you watch that?
No, I did not.
Okay. I mean, I figured not, but like, I truly wonder who was watching that.
Certainly not me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really crazy to look at this flyer now and think about like there was a window, right? Probably for like a year to 2 years, where if these bands were booked and the locals were just like equivalent locals to like 2015 or 16 as opposed to 2012 locals, this probably would have done pretty good.
They would have done way better. Like, I think honestly, which I can't really speak, but like, I don't know, like Blistered could have played this.
Blistered was not a band yet, I don't think. Or
I
maybe
thought you guys were in. I thought in 2012. I thought you guys were a band.
yeah, I think we put out our demo like 2 months before this. So we were like barely.
It's still really new, but yeah, the locals I feel like is what kind of is lack.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, Blizzard was a Tampa band and this was a South Florida thing. So I had already been living at that point to go to school. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, like Trial, Culture, Hometown Reunion, that was the first reunion too. Chorus, Damnation. I mean, honestly, at the time, I was probably more excited about Foundation than anything else.
Than probably anything at
Yeah.
that.
And
like,
then, you know,
definitely.
first Shai Hulud reunion with Chad Ball singing, and then like Mean Season, By the Grace of God, Birdville Omen. People were psyched on this. It was just like, I think the problem with it was that the fest was like $50 or like $40 or whatever it was.
Pretty expensive for 2012, even for this when you think
Yeah.
about
So all these older people came out, but like young kids were like, damn, I'm not gonna pay. Like if young kids came to this, I mean, I played, so I went both days. But like I remember a lot of kids who were my age, who were my friends, were like, yeah, I'm not paying all that. I don't know who those bands are. I'm not paying all that money just to see Foundation. I'll just see Foundation another time.
And I
So
think that's where the locals come in. And maybe like Blizzard wasn't the best example, but like something where like some friends would be incentivized, like, yeah, we're gonna pay and go like dance our asses off to our friend's band at this like weird, kind of weird fest.
yeah, I can tell you that at that time, kids in South Florida were just like a lot more interested in what outside of like a select few, like me and probably like less than 10 other people who were like getting into like older stuff. There was like probably a lot of kids who it was like me and my friends, we got into stuff like as a friend group between like 2007 to 2009.
Yeah.
So by this time, we're a few years in. We're now like going back and getting into older stuff. There was a lot of kids in my town, like young kids who were the generation before us or the generation after us, who started going to hardcore shows in like 2011, 2012. They're not looking at old shit yet. They're
So they
still,
see like chorus and culture and all that, and they're like, "What the fuck?" They probably didn't even know who Shia Lulu was.
yeah, for sure. So I just think like the lineup, like leaning more like old plus the price being what it was, made it so that like a lot of those kids were just like, yeah, I'm not going to that. So
Yeah,
it definitely, I know that this dude, I was told at least, uh, never booked another show again after that.
that
Um,
sucks.
because he lost so much. And like he was a dude, I can't remember his name, but he's a guy who like he booked like cool shows in South Florida. Like he booked like he would do like old New York hardcore bands in South Florida and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and then ad for the Strong Arm LP. Uh, Pretty cool. Just the artwork, kind of all weird looking. Um, but yeah, that's it. Not really much as far as like layout. This is really more of like closer to like a coffee table book almost. You know what I mean?
a lot of good history though.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. A lot of cool photos, a lot of cool flyers. I recreated this sort of vibe for what at the time was supposed to be the last issue of Plead Your Case. I did like a giant size Plead Your Case, and I just did a collection of. I was like so into this zine, and like I've looked at this zine so many fucking times, and like wanted to just have like a similar sort of collection of flyers of kind of my South Florida era at the time, and
Yeah,
ended up doing that. But yeah, so this one's a cool one. It's a really specific kind of niche one, but I do love it, and it is pretty cool and interesting that it's made by a guy who's like a legitimate like celebrity, you know.
at this point, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so thanks for sitting through that. If you guys got any zines that you like want to see us do,
Yeah.
com- just comment, let us know.
It's gonna say that if you have any old zines like you want us to do, if you can get us the PDF if you have to, if you feel comfortable mailing it to one of us and we can mail it back after we do the episode, pretty open to checking out anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Carter, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.
I don't know when we haven't really talked too much about what the schedule is going to be or the consistency or frequency of these, but I'm having fun doing them. So
Same.
more soon.
Lot of old zines out there. I have personally a lot of older ones that I've been given that I know people will love to see and hear about.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of stuff coming, and see where it goes.
Yeah. I think the next one we're gonna do, I think we decided, is gonna be Victory Magazine #1. So yeah, we will
Dope one.
drop that on you guys soon.
Hell yeah.
Dope. All right. Later,
Peace,
Carter.
guys.